Welcome back to Community Television. I'm here with my guest, Steve Gottlieb, who is an energy healer of many dimensions, and he's going to be working with me today. We had a prior show, and in between the show, I acknowledged to Steve that I was feeling anxious. So he did some work with me, and after that, I felt much more relaxed. However, being before a camera can bring up stress. So I'm asking him to do a demo healing with me today, so that you can get some idea of how Steve works. And I'm really fascinated. I hope you are too. Thank you for watching. Steve Gottlieb,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here again. It's a great opportunity to be able to demonstrate these things in front of people because I can talk about them all day. But you sometimes have to see it and experience it for what it is. So you mentioned that you're feeling a little bit of stress being in front of the camera for wherever that stress is coming from. Mm-hmm. You know, we just want to acknowledge that the stress is there.
The stress is
there.
So
for many people, the stress is there in form of an idea, a mental idea, that they might be anxious or worried or scared or nervous about, and they might actually feel that as an emotional disturbance in the body's energy system. So what do I mean by the body's energy system? Well, primarily I mean the nervous system, because that's what processes stress. Our nervous system is actually mediating between stress and relaxation response all the time. So when it's balanced, everything is neutral. When it gets out of balance to the stress side, we can measure that with the muscle testing, and I talked about the muscle testing in the previous show. So I want to demonstrate that for you now so we can see how that works, and people can see how it works. Mm-hmm. And then we can do some techniques to see if we can resolve the energy disturbance that's related to whatever that stress is, and see what your feedback is. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we can go back to the muscle testing and see what happens.
Okay, I'm following you.
Okay, very good. So this is a demonstration of something called muscle testing, also known as applied kinesiology, or in this case, perhaps behavioral kinesiology. And the way it's classically shown and taught to people is that the person being tested, you're testing the person's energetic system, which is connected to your subconscious, essentially. And if everything functions normally in our electrical system, then these things almost always 100% work the same way. We simply ask you to hold your arm out like this, and your name is Roxanne, correct?
My name is Roxanne.
Yeah, so I'm going to push without trying to overpower you, but I'm going to push in such a way that when I ask you to hold strong, I can feel the resistance from your muscle operating. Mm-hmm. Okay, you said my name is Roxanne. So say something that's not true. Say my name is Joan.
My name is Joan.
Does it upset you to say my name is Joan?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge. Okay, so say my name is Joan.
My name is
hold
Joan.
Strong, and there's a difference. See that?
I
I'm
feel
not
it.
pushing as hard, and your arm goes weak. Most people look at that and they go, "You're pushing harder," and I'm going, "No, it just seems that way because you're fighting with more effort, but your muscle has gone weak." Mm-hmm. So when sometimes people first see this, when I first saw that, I was like, "What in the world was that?" But this is a well-established diagnostic tool of the body's energy system that's been in use for almost 60 years or plus by a lot of energy practitioners, chiropractors, and enlightened medical and psychological professionals. And of course, a lot of those people operate using this as a diagnostic tool, and a lot of methods of healing, physical, psychological, and emotional, have come about using this as the basis of the deterministic nature of what the root cause of the problem is. Mm-hmm. So you said before that you're still feeling a little bit of stress, whether it's being under the camera or not.
Can you know exactly what?
Yeah. So we don't necessarily have to identify really what you're thinking about the stress. So all I have to do is ask you to tune in and notice the stress.
I do notice it.
Can you do that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So hold your arm out. Okay? So I'm just going to ask you to tune in and notice whatever that stress is. Got that?
I notice. I feel it.
You feel it? So hold strong. Now, your body's energy system goes weak when you tune into it, so we know there's a disturbance in the body's energy system. Now, we can activate healing in the body's energy system or a resolution of disturbance, and the way that I typically do it is with emotional freedom technique. And the way emotional freedom technique works is that we start acknowledging that we have this disturbance, and we'll start tapping on what we call the karate chop point right here. And we'll say, even though I have
either
this...
hand.
Yeah, the other hand doesn't matter. Even though I have this disturbance, this stressful disturbance.
Even though I have this stressful
disturbance.
And
if you know what it is, you want to be more specific with your language. But, you know, your own conscious and subconscious know exactly what we're tapping on. So even though I have this this disturbance right now, this stressful disturbance,
Even though I have
I
this
deeply
stressful
and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Even
myself.
though I have this stressful disturbance, I deeply and completely accept
Even
myself.
though I have this stressful disturbance.
Even though I have this stressful disturbance, I deeply and completely accept myself.
myself.
And this is called the setup phrase that we use to start a round of EFT tapping.
3 times.
Right? Yep, 3 times. And then what we start to do is we tune in to the nature of the stress. Sometimes if we're doing it clinically, I'll ask you to give a number, scale of 1 to 10. 10 meaning, Steve, I'm so stressed out, I couldn't be any more stressed out. And Steve, I'm at a 0 because I have no idea where that stress went. So this way we know if we're making progress. So I'm going to assume that you're in the middle range someplace. And what we want you to do is we want you to take 2 fingers, start tapping on the first tapping point, which is on the upper inside corner of the eye socket, on where the beginning of the eyebrow starts. 2 fingers is enough. Tapping lightly, but but enough to know that you're tapping, and then say what it is that we're stressed about. I have feeling this stressful sensation.
I'm feeling this stressful sensation.
Okay. On the side of the eye, right at the outside corner of the eye socket there, the stressful disturbance.
Distressful disturbance.
Right? Underneath this eye, right underneath the middle of the middle there. Yep. This stressful disturbance I'm feeling.
Distressful disturbance.
This is called the reminder phrase in emotional freedom technique. The next place we tap is underneath the nose. It's a stressful disturbance.
Distressful disturbance.
And then on the chin point, which is really midway between the point of the chin and underneath the lip, distressful disturbance.
Distressful disturbance.
And we tap on something we call the collarbone spot, which is really where the collarbone meets the breastbone, and slightly below in the indentation below the collarbone right there. And we tap in there, and I'm using all my fingers to tap just to get the whole area there. And again, I'm tapping on this stressful disturbance. And then the common thing to do next would be to lift our arm and top underneath the armpit, about 4 inches below on the side of the ribs, this stressful disturbance. And there are lots of other places we can tap, but what typically most EFT tapping practitioners will then go and tap on the top of the head, or they might even start there. If you've seen it online, you've seen different people do it. It doesn't really matter. Just try to do it as according to the people who traditionally do EFT do it. Tapping, 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 the stressful disturbance. One more time. Eyebrow, the stressful feeling, side of the eye, the stressful disturbance. Underneath the eye, get creative with the language, whatever I'm stressed out about. Underneath the nose, who knows why I'm stressed out? On the chin, my subconscious knows exactly why I'm stressed out. Maybe it does. On the collarbone, doesn't matter. I'm feeling the stress. Underneath the arm, the stress that I'm sensing right now. Top of the head, I'm allowing the stress to go away. So we're giving an opportunity for our mind to be able to take this energy input into our body's nervous system. And it's actually connecting the part of our experience that says I'm stressed, and we're putting input signals to the nervous system that says go into relaxation response. So it basically rewires the part of the brain. Most people believe this would be in the amygdala gland, that is connecting thoughts and beliefs and circumstances with the stress response in the body. So we can have the thoughts and the experience of what's going on in our life, but the physical reaction of the stress in the body is now not being activated by that thought anymore. I'm just curious now that we've done a round or two of tapping, if your feeling about the stress is released any.
Well, it's interesting. On one level, my body feels calmer, almost as if it's ready to go into sleep.
Yes, there is a relaxation response.
In the other, there's some kind of anxiety that's being
good.
generated.
So really what happens when we do things like EFT is we are calming the body down, but what it does is it takes the surface layer of the problem so that the underlying problem can start to come up to us. That's what you're feeling right now. So instead of continuing with the EFT, because the EFT seems to have done its job, you're feeling more calm and relaxed, let's go back to whatever this disturbance is that you're feeling now. Think about it in this way. Think about the first disturbance before we started tapping. Let me have your arm again. You remember that? Say, I'm still disturbed by that, the stress.
I'm still disturbed by that.
Yeah, so I'm getting it as a no. Say, I'm not disturbed by that anymore.
I'm not disturbed by that anymore.
So that's true. Say, I'm disturbed by this. Say, think about whatever the new disturbance is. Feel that? Yeah, all right. So just thinking about it. And this is great because when I work with people who really aren't yet comfortable to tell me what their life story is, all I have to do is think about it, and we'll get a response, and we'll know what's going on. Here's an example. Think about something that when you think about either a recent event or something that makes you happy, even a pet cat, you know, hold the thought of something that brings joy and happiness to your mind. And let me borrow your arm. Hold strong. Got that thought? Good. There. Nice and strong. Pushing really hard. Good, strong. So think about something without going any place where you're going to feel bad necessarily. Just something slightly that concerns you, or you know, is not on your agenda of the things that you would like to think about to make you happy. Can you think of anything like that?
Yes.
Hold that thought. Ready? Okay, so with absolute ease, she's not able to hold that thought. And that's just a reaction to the body's energy system as soon as we think about a positive thought and a negative thought, which is why it's really important to think about positive thoughts. However, we just can't think about positive thoughts if the negative thoughts are still there in the subconscious. So we can go around all day long going, I feel great, I feel great, I feel great. But if you don't feel great, you just say it, all you're doing is you're reinforcing the negative side of it.
Why is that?
Because your unconscious says, why are you lying to me?
Oh.
You don't feel great, you know? So things like law of attraction, for people who are like positively and naturally optimistic, it really works well. But people who have less of that natural optimism, or they might tend to be on the other side of the happiness equation, might have a harder time saying, I'm happy, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm successful, because they know on some level that they're not. So you don't want to deceive yourself. But once you clear the energy out of that, then you can use those powerful positive affirmations more effectively.
So
and if we had some time, I'll demonstrate that.
So you brought up the law of attraction. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
I will, but first I want to go back to resolve the problem. Remember that little emotion or whatever that disturbance that came up after we cleared out the first level with EFT? Can you still sense it? Go to it. Let me borrow your arm again. Whatever that disturbance is, go to that. Yeah, it's still there. So what I want to do is I actually want to do, if you don't mind, direct healing in the body's energy system without even doing any tapping. You know, there's something that the Indians know about, that maybe you've heard about some of these things from yoga classes, things. There's a chakra system that runs along the spine of the body, all right? And that's, of course, where the nervous system is, starting with the brain.
You're talking
and the top
about
of the
energy
head.
centers.
Right. So they're really energy centers that just happen to be located along where there are natural nerve plexuses in our spinal column. So there's one at the base of the spine, there's one at the sacral area. The sacral is the back here, and in the front it's the lower abdomen. The solar plexus would be the third chakra. The heart center is the fourth chakra. The throat center is the fifth chakra. What is commonly known as the third eye, all right, our intuitive center in the brain, its access point here is the sixth chakra, and the crown, which is basically our spiritual connection to the universe. The top of the head is the seventh chakra, and those are conventionally the seven chakras. So when the body is disturbed, obviously because we've muscle tested, some representation of what's happening in your life can be represented by disturbances in those chakra areas, because those chakras are believed to correspond to different aspects of our life. You know, for example, you know, the base chakra is our essential feeling of security in the world, you know, and our throat chakra might be the ability to be able to speak our higher truth, for example, where this might be the ability to know our higher truth. This might be the ability to feel our higher truth. And the nervous system says most of our emotions and disturbance about the physical world are right here in the solar plexus. So without trying to analyze what that is, I'm just going to muscle test or intuit which chakras are out of balance, and we're going to go clear those out. And then notice whether or not the thing that was disturbing you before still disturbs you with a muscle test. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. So just to review, think about the thing that was disturbing you. Let me check that again. Let me have your arm. Hold strong. Okay. So what I've done is I've learned a system of muscle testing with my hands so that I can surrogate muscle test for you. So when I'm working with a client on the phone, or when I'm working quickly, I don't have to push on people's arms all day long. You know, I can be Skyping with them, and they can be, you know, in the British Isles somewhere, and they might be telling me something, and I'm just checking their energy system to see what's okay and what's not okay, what's true, what's not true, and I'm getting that information right out of my hands. So here I'm going to say, all right, if there's an energy disturbance, it's going to be reflected in certain chakras, and if I can clear those chakras out, maybe that energy disturbance will be healed. Let's see what happens.
Or it might move into deeper elements.
It might, but I think for the purposes of our television show, your subconscious is not going to let you go there.
Okay.
You know, we're just going to clear it out right now. But
Okay.
it might. Sometimes what happens is we clear this one thing out, and a big insight opens up, and oh my God, all of a sudden I remember when I was 6, this thing happened, and now we have a whole story, and all the emotions from that traumatic memory
out
come
the
up, and then we
tissues.
clear all that out, and people go, I didn't expect to do all this crying. And no, your tears are beautiful to me, because now we finally found this thing you've been carrying all your life that we can finally release and heal. Okay, so whatever is going on right now, first, second, third, fourth, here, think about this issue again. And when we muscle test, we use our intuition to tell the subconscious what it is that we're testing. So I want to do a little demonstration, if I might. Put your hand on your solar plexus chakra, okay? All right, hold your arm out, and just imagine that you're saying to yourself, this disturbance is here in my third chakra. Got that? Yep. So it's not, is it? All right. Think about the issue. We're going to test the third chakra again. Hold strong. Yeah. Third chakra is okay. Put your hand on your heart. Say this issue is reflected in the disturbance in my heart chakra.
This issue is
Yes,
reflected
very
in
strong.
disturbance
Now we're
in
going
the
to
heart
check
chakra.
the energy of the heart chakra. Think about the heart chakra. Hold strong. And heart chakra energy goes weak. So as you can see, the way I frame that represents my intention, and that is what your body is responding to. My intention to get at the right information. So I was able to corroborate that the energy of the heart is what's disturbed. Here, think about the issue, the disturbing issue again. Let me borrow your arm. Got that? Hold strong. So the disturbing issue still represents that, and now that we know that the heart chakra is out of balance, we can rebalance the heart chakra. We can do that in many, many ways. But just for brevity, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hands as a bioenergetic healing device. And the chakras are thought of and can be seen by people who can actually see energy as wheels of energy and if there's a disturbance in the flow of that energy in this wheel, that's chakra means wheel in Sanskrit.
Oh, right.
You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, if I balance it that way, will it strengthen it? If I balance it that way, will it weaken it? So if I balance it this way, it's going to be strengthened and corrected 50 times. So I'm going to actually literally go in here with my conscious intention to move my hand in a circular direction, knowing that I'm interacting with the energy of your heart chakra. And we've done about 20. I can move faster. That's 30. We can move faster. And sometimes people actually feel the energy shifting.
I am feeling.
Yeah. Very often people have dramatic reactions to this, people who are energetically sensitive, but most people wouldn't. Sometimes I'll do this over the phone with people, and just like I can muscle test with intention over the phone, I can actually send and transmit healing energy over the phone by saying, there's your heart chakra, and I'm going to clear that out. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do right now. I'm going to ask you to put your hand on your heart chakra while you're thinking about this issue again. Remember the issue that was disturbing? Hold strong. Now it's strong. So we've cleared the heart chakra out. Are all the other chakras okay? Yes. Think about the issue all by itself, the one that seemed to be disturbing after we did the EFT. Have that thought? Remember what it was? Hold strong. So I'm pushing really, really hard, and even though you're trying to bring that back to your memory, you know, your body's not being disturbed by it anymore. And tell me,
Good.
Do you notice any difference? Does it feel any different to you?
It does feel different.
Yeah. Did you
bit
notice for a
lighter.
moment it was harder to find, harder to locate? Mm-hmm. This is very often what happens. Once we clear out the thing, you know, whatever it is, even sometimes a very serious disturbance that you can easily think about and picture in your mind, sometimes it's harder to find that picture. Okay. So we were going to use this as an opportunity to demonstrate my empowerment technique. When I work with people as a personal performance coach, very often people will come to me with a disturbance, and instead of trying to determine what the nature of the disturbance is, you know, really what I want them to be empowered is that even though I have this problem in my life, I can still be okay, or I can find a way of overcoming this problem. So everybody's got a problem that we have a little concern of whether or not we can overcome it. Or a lot of people will call them blocks, blocks to our success or blocks to health. you know. So I use this method, and it works with law of attraction that you asked me to talk about. Because when we want to use law of attraction, we want to have a very powerful positive affirmation. Positive affirmation represents our highest and best good of what we want. So, for example, if we want to feel well, even though we have this troubling thing in our life, we say, I can be well even though I know I have this troubling thing in my life. We don't want to deny that the troubling thing isn't there, but we can deny that the troubling thing will impede us in such a way that we can't overcome it. So that's what we want to do. So I'm just going to intuit something that might be working for you, or won't get into specifics, and you don't have to get into specifics either, but let me just think for a moment and see what we can come up with. It keeps coming up the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, here, this is what it is. Say, I can feel great even though I'm focused on some of my problems.
I can feel great even though I'm focused on some of my problems.
Right, okay. So, no surprise.
No
It's hard to
surprise.
feel great when we're focused on some of our problems. Our mind is always going to be kicking up problems, saying, hey, Roxanne, get on the ball here. We got to take care of these problems, you know? And it takes our life force energy away. And that's what that was a representation of. No worries, we're going to correct that. And what happens is it's going to give you more energy, more positive energy, to either use positive affirmations or to get your energy back so that we can be okay even though we have life problems. Everybody's got life problems. Some of them are very stressful. So these techniques are extremely good for helping people to overcome overwhelming stress, even if there's nothing specific there that we can identify or that they want to reveal to me. And I call this energetic rescripting process, or energetic empowerment. Okay, so here it is again. Here's the master statement. I can feel great even though I still have some of these problems I'd like to get over.
I can feel great even though I have some...
So it's the I feel great. It's the I can feel great that the brain is going, no, I can't feel great. Say, I can't feel great.
I can't feel great.
That's true. So we want to feel great, right? So let's feel great anyway. All right, so here it is. The way I do this is I have a little laundry list, about 14 questions, and I'm asking your subconscious to present to us which one of these keywords represents the reason why some part of your brain says, I can't feel great. I cannot feel, I believe, I trust. Here, say, I think I can feel great.
I think I can feel great.
Oh, yeah, not a problem. Say, I trust I can feel great.
I trust I can feel great.
Yeah, there's the dilemma. So let's go back to emotional freedom technique and use the setup phrase, which is also something that we call in EFT a psychological reversal. So listen to the language, and it'll explain to you what the psychological reversal is. There's a reversal in your brain that's wired wrong that says, I can't trust I can feel great. We want to reverse it so I trust I can feel great is true. So this is how we say it. Even though I don't trust I can feel great.
Even though I don't trust I can feel great.
Even though my mind is telling me I've got all these things that I got to take care of.
Even though my mind is telling me I've got all these things I've got to take care of.
Deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Even though
myself.
I don't trust
Even though
I can feel great.
Then I can feel great.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely
Even
accept
though
myself.
I don't trust.
Even though I don't trust.
I can feel great.
I can feel great.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely
Good.
accept
Now we just
myself.
gave ourselves an energy treatment, and we want to reset the nervous system in relation to that. So let's take a nice breath. And at any time you're stressed about anything, that breath is a master reset switch for the nervous system, of course, starting with the brain. Okay? Watch. Say, I trust I can feel great.
I trust
yeah,
I can
that's
feel
true.
great.
So are we done with that? No, this is more. Let me find them. Okay, who knows why? Psychologists have a field day with this, but it doesn't matter. Say, I'm worthy of feeling great.
I'm worthy of feeling great.
Okay? So even though I'm not worthy of feeling great, no problem. This is just an energy thing that I discovered.
I'm not worthy of
We're not
feeling
here
great.
to discover why you don't feel worthy. That's not relevant at all. We just identified a potential source of an energetic disturbance. It doesn't matter why you wouldn't feel worthy. That's a conversation for another discussion, a time for another discussion, okay? Even though I'm not worthy of feeling great, because it's not true, you are worthy. But part of your subpsyche says I'm not, for whatever reason.
I'm not worthy of feeling great.
I deeply accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Even though I'm not worthy of feeling great,
Even though I'm not
I
worthy
deeply
of
and completely
feeling
accept
great.
myself.
I deeply and completely
Even
accept
though I'm not
myself.
worthy of feeling great,
Even though I'm not worthy of feeling
I
great.
deeply and completely accept
I
myself.
deeply and completely
Good.
accept
Now we
myself.
take a breath again, and we're resetting the nervous system, which is really literally throwing the switches in the amygdala that no longer sends a disturbance to our body's energy system when you say, I'm worthy, I can feel great. Say I'm worthy, I can feel great.
I'm worthy, I can
Yeah,
feel
okay,
great.
very good. Are we done? I think we are. So let's go back to the master statement, which was, even though I have all these things that stress me out, I can still feel great about myself. Go ahead. Even I can feel great about myself, even though there's still some things that disturb me.
I can feel great about myself, even though there are some things that still disturb me.
Look at how hard am I pushing?
Pretty hard.
Yeah, so there's no part of your energy system that's saying no to that. And I find that without really getting messy involved with what all those things are that might be disturbing you, this is the fastest way to empower people by correcting their energy systems so that they can use the law of attraction to get the things that they want, provided that they're reasonable. And I always shoot for the things that are the highest and best good. In other words, if somebody comes to me because they have a problem with their relationship, I'll say I can have happy relationships. Say I can have happiness in my life. If I say, hold strong, I can have happiness in my life, and it goes south, maybe there's something in their subpsyche that is always getting involved in relationships that is going to end up making them unhappy. So who knows why that's there? We can have a field day talking about that, but it doesn't matter. I go right in to find out where the energetic switches in the brain are set in the wrong position and reset them. And then miraculous things happen. All of a sudden, successful relationships show up.
Great.
Happy relationships show up.
By the way, believe it or not, this is our second show is just about over. And,
wow.
I want to thank you so much for being here.
So much, my pleasure.
Just as a by the way, in between the first show and the second show, Steve lightened me considerably. I feel so much better. And thanks again, and people can check your website. You also have referrals to other areas of interest besides the specifics that you do.
Yeah.
And it could be a very valuable resource for people.
Well, it could be. I do a lot of presentations and workshops, and I also point people to other kinds of things that they might be interested in. And I try to provide some resources on my website where they can go do self-exploration. I'm always available to talk to anybody who thinks they might get something out of talking to me, and that's complimentary.
Okay. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Happy to have you here.
My pleasure's mine.
Community Television, Steve Gottlieb, my guest.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.